race in 1919. Today I've got no notes, I've got nothing. I put a post up on my YouTube channel yesterday that today I wanted to give a brief video about how I became a Leeds supporter, fan, supporter, whatever. And it goes all the way back till primary school. Actually, before I start, I want to give a shout out, and I know he's not watching this, but to Just Joe. I messaged Joe yesterday, and I asked him to, if there's any chance I could, in the comments, just tell people that I have a channel now, and I'm trying to grow it. Not a problem. No issues. The man didn't have to do that, didn't have to say that. If he had said to me, no, don't do it in my channel, I would have been like, no problem, no issue. But he didn't. He just says, go for it, man. Go for it. And I was like, he does not have to do that. The man does so much for smaller creators. And to bring people on, and I've seen that. I've been watching Joe for a number of years, and to see the amount of people that he has brought through, and actually given a platform to, it's great. And I like the fact that he doesn't have everybody on that agrees with him. You can have a disagreement, and there's respect there. But anyway, back to me. So, for me, joining the Leeds family happened when I was born. My grandfather was a Leeds United supporter. My father's a Leeds United supporter. My brother was a Leeds United supporter. He's no longer with us. And obviously myself. And it just was a family thing. My father lived in Leeds. My grandfather lived in Leeds, worked in Leeds. I went to university in Leeds. In Leeds, it was Leeds Journey, all them years ago. But one thing I will say is, going way back now, 1984 was the first time I ever saw Leeds play live. 1984, I was 10 or 11. And I instantly fell in love. It was back then, from memory. We played at Tulka Park. I played against Shelburne. We won, I think it was 2-0. And something tells me back then, I know for a fact Phil Masinga played, because he came up on the team sheet. I don't know why this sticks out in my head, but he came up on the team sheet as a unknown trialist. And there was another guy nobody heard of, and he was another unknown trialist, and there was Lucas Radaby as well. And they both played in that game, and I was like, what is going on? Who are these people? And Phil Masinga was magic. It was League of Ireland opposition, but I didn't know. I was just looking at these players going, wow. I think I'm David White and Rocky Rocastle, and like over the years I've gone down to watch them in Dublin. That's all I could do. I couldn't get over. I was only a lad, and back then planes were you couldn't go on a plane. Like, it was too expensive. It was all on boats, and it was supporters clubs that were going over, and it was for a weekend on the piss and all that. So it wasn't really a scene for a 10 or 11-year-old child. It was mad. But it was mad because we all go back to there, and I can see my brother was a fanatic, more so than me at the beginning. But those trips to Tulka Park we did every summer, it was like mental. And then even back then, all we could really see is match of the day, and you'd see facts and things, and you were keeping up with scores. And we used to actually get every Saturday we used to get a 3 o'clock kickoff in Ireland, and sometimes Leeds would be playing. I can remember vividly in '95, Daniel, who do you call him? Dillian Atkinson. I remember that one. Daniel for Everton, can't remember, Amakachi or something like that there, played up front for Everton. Used to demolish us. But I remember playing Aston Villa as well as a lad. And Dillian Atkinson used to absolutely kick the shit out of us around the pitch. He was just a different player playing against Leeds. But growing on till the late 90s and early 2000s, and that's whenever I became like a late teenager, sort of 18, 19 years old at 2001-ish, 2002, and I started going to my own games. I went over with my father. I went to uni over there. I went to quite a few games over there. I went to the European games. The atmospheres were amazing. The unfortunate thing, we lost my brother in 2007. 2008. February 2008. And it was crazy the way it worked out. Me and my brother actually never got to see Leeds live at Allen Road, ever. And it's one of the biggest regrets, I suppose, that I have in life. It's like the two of us being massive fans of the club, and you look back on it and there's times where you can become emotional. Especially at certain times of the year, it's like it really hits home, and you start thinking about things, and it's hard to think that the two of us being such big Leeds fans, that we just never, for some reason, never got the Allen Road together. But we've been down the road a number of times separately. It just didn't make any sense. But anyway, our Jason, my brother, was on the pitch the year that Ipswich relegated us, and we ended up going. There was a bit of a hoo-ha, a bit of a, not a riot, but it was a bit of a kick-off. There's pictures of him and everything, like, yeah, but he was an absolute nut job, like, but he loved it. He loved the crack. And when Jason died, I found it very hard. We went then into League One, and whenever we were in League One, I found it very, not in League One, but whenever we were in the Championship, I found it very difficult after my brother died, and especially whenever we went down to League One, I found it very difficult to go over, and I don't know why. You can't explain it. But this is why I harp back quite a lot on any streams that people put up, and I talk about the atmospheres in League One were unbelievable atmospheres. It's like, I loved it. It was us against the world. I can remember playing Millwall and Bristol and Cheltenham, and it was crap. It was crap, but we had some brilliant people. You look at the likes of Treasure Condal up front with Jimmy and Beckford. I'll never forget that the Millwall game, and Backs hit one from the corner of the box. Boom! Rocket over the top of the keeper, far corner. You know, we had some very good players that could have played at a higher level for us if the management of the club had been correct. And like, it was amazing to see all the ups and the downs, and like in a space of 10 years, I went from watching, you know, well, it wasn't Champions League, it was the Europa League, I think, UEFA Cup or whatever it was at the time. We were playing Grasshopper Zurich at home, and you're talking going from that to playing Cheltenham Town and Millwall, and struggling to get a team out in the pitch and pay players, and having to close the top tier because you didn't want to pay rates, and you know, the minus 15 points, then losing Dennis Wise and Gus Poyet and Simon Grayson coming in, obviously, and you know, obviously Gary Mack came in as well, and obviously we did well, and we got out of the league and into the Championship eventually. And then over time, the main man came in, Marcelo Bielsa. I think Simon Grayson is a massively underrated manager for Leeds United, and it was because of where we were in our history at that point. But I think Marcelo Bielsa reignited in a lot of fans who had fallen probably because of how far we had fallen. He took over a team that was averaging 15th in the league every year. And Marcelo Bielsa, in my head, really reignited the passion and the love of the club, of the football, of everything Leeds, just everything. He made it so exciting. It was so engaging. You didn't have a clue what he was saying, but you were engaged because he spoke in Spanish, or, you know, and those clips coming out about Leif Davis at the training sessions, and, those type of things were so wholesome but so amazing to see. And I think we are in a position now in the Premier League, and we owe so much of that to Bielsa because he changed the entire philosophy of a club, from the playing side to the recruitment side to the youth players coming through, the academy, the type of player that we're looking for. And like coming through all those times up until Bielsa, we had so many people in charge of the club, and it was so hard to. You always loved the club, but it was so hard to support. I said you support the team, but you can't support the board at times. If you understand what I'm saying, it was like Krasner and Bates and Chilino, and it just GFH. It just seemed time after time after time we were just getting kicked and kicked and kicked for 15 years. And then Rods come in, and everybody was all over Rods, and we were thinking he was the best thing from sliced bread. And to be honest with you, Rod Rosani did a very good job, and we bought everything he told us, hook, line, and sinker. We bought everything. We bought everything that the crazy Spaniard Victor Orta said as well, and did. The amount of players that we brought in that were really poor players under Orta is crazy. We had a merry-go-round. We had the John Kevin Augustine scenario under them. We had so much issues that if people look beyond just the surface, we could clearly see it was a poorly run club under them. Our admin costs went up the first time we get into the Premier League. Our admin costs went up to the highest ever recorded, but it's under an umbrella called admin costs, so nobody can actually look into what those admin costs are. So where did the money go? We get into the Premier League, and then they didn't back Bielsa. We didn't have the money to back Bielsa. No, we couldn't back him. He said himself, we have a cycle of 3 years. And the fans, as much as there were some questioning Bielsa and all the rest, they sacked him without backing him. And then they backed Jesse Marsh to the tune of 100 million. And brought an absolute tripe. And then ultimately we get relegated and we get sacked, and then the management merry-go-round kicks off again. And that's, to be honest with you, I got angry at the club, but I wasn't angry at Leeds as a fan base. And all. We were reacting all, and this is why I love this club, is because we are such an emotional club. It's like, I always say, everybody, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has one, and it's true. We all do, and that's why I love it so much. I hate it. Would be such a boring club if we all agreed in everything, which we don't, which I'm so thankful for. But up to that point, we're in a position where we're arguing amongst ourselves about some people backing Jesse, some people, the vast majority didn't back him, let's be honest. But then we sort of got realization that it's not Jesse here. It's the ownership. The ownership don't know what they're doing, or they're doing something nefarious, which we don't agree with. which ultimately over time, whenever Rod Rosani's trying to sell the club to the 49ers, but at the same time trying to leverage the club against buying Sampdoria, we clicked. And we're like, oh, I don't think so, Rods. Out you go. And he had to back down. And the 49ers come in. And this is where I am with the 49ers today. It's been up to this point, this club, I am 42 years old. And all my life, this club has been an absolute merry-go-round. It's been a roller coaster. It grabs you by the scruff of the neck and says, I love you. And then it grabs you with the balls and says, I hate you. It's such a mix of emotions at times. And I think that's what we are. That the creation of our fan base has been generations, obviously, but the last 25 years of Leeds United has been ups and downs, like marching on together says, but it's been mental. Up and down, all through. We've been to League One, we've been to the Championship, we've been to the Premier League, we've been relegated, we've been back up. It's crazy. And I suppose at this point, under the 49ers, we have some semblance of just rest, just normality. We can go into the 49ers today and Daniel Farke. What I'm going to do actually and touch on it and say, there's people Farke in, Farke out, and I've said that in previous videos. The fact of the matter is, the man's got us to the Premier League. We're sitting on 8 points in 6 games. What's he done wrong? We can argue about in-game management. We can argue about subs. We all do that. And I have disagreed vehemently with some of the things that Farke has done this season. 100%. But if he turns around and gets his 45 points, keeps us in the league, do you sack him at the end of the season? If we go down, is he the best man to bring us back up? But they're for longer, they're for down the line. The thing for me is this, I think the 49ers have massively failed us in the last transfer window. Not just us, but Daniel Farke. Yes, we've come good with DCL. Yes, we've got Nemanja. Yes, we've got Okafor. But we've no right wing. Dan James is injured, and then you're filling in with Brandon. And let's be brutally honest, we need better than that to really kick on. January, we have got to spend money. And this is where Leeds have you again, going back to that emotional roller coaster of why we're fans and why I'm a fan. And you can't explain how it has you. It's just got everything. Like, my weekends are dictated about how Leeds play, how the results we get, the performances we give. It's mad how it just gets you, If you can't explain that feeling to a person who doesn't follow or like football or doesn't get it, there's a real passion, there's just something that just grabs you in the feels, it just grabs you and it drags you in, and this club is expert at that. But we're in a good place. For the first time since Bielsa, the first season, this is the best we've been in a while. And we just need to stand up as a club and stand together as a fan base and say, you know what? It's us against the world. Go back to the League One days when it was us against the world. No, remember how many people voted about those 15 points to deduct from us. Remember how many of those, they hated us. That hasn't changed. Most of the Premier League don't like us. I hated being the second team for some Premier League fan bases whenever we come up under Bielsa. I hated it. Oh, Leeds play good football and blah, blah. I don't care what you think. I want 3 points from your club. I want another 3 when we go to visit you away from home. I don't care if you get relegated. I want to stay up. I don't care if Sunderland stay up. I don't care if Burnley stay up. I want Leeds to stay up. And if they go down, if they stay up and we stay up, fair play. But I don't care. I want us to stay up. We've been through so much crap in 20 to 25 years. I think from the highs of the European competitions, playing Valencia, getting walloped in the first leg, but playing Valencia, those amazing nights, to nights going the time we played Watford in the playoff final and we get hammered, Paul Butler and all in defence, and we get relegated then and get 15 points, 10 points that season, 15 the next. Playing Doncaster and Cheltenham and teams like they got there, to now back to the Premier League. And people lost their minds against Arsenal. We lose 5-0. Listen, this is Leeds. It's what we do. The teams around us are going to, the results of it, the teams around us is going to determine how we do this season. And we're doing okay. It's going to be mad all season. It's going to be a roller coaster all season. It's what we do. So enjoy it. Just enjoy it. If we enjoy it, we're going to have a good season. If we enjoy this season, if we enjoy this season, the players are going to perform. Oh, and we're going to step. If we think this season's miserable, then we're going to get relegated. And it's as simple as that. We have 32 games. If we get 32 points in the next 32 games, we'll stay up. 40 points will keep us up. Can we win? Yeah. Yeah, we can. Can we win 10 games? Yeah, I think we can. I think we can beat Tottenham and then roll into the international break and come back strong after that. Let's be positive. We're Leeds United. If it gets to a point where we're questioning the manager because of results, let's do that. But people calling for Varka to go just because Nuno gets sacked baffles me, because Nuno Espirito Santos is a very good manager, but he fell out at Wolves, he fell out at Spurs, he fell out at Nottingham Forest, at those three clubs. He fell out with the management of each club. I'm just saying, sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side, guys. We should know that. We've had so many people calling for Daniel Farke to go now. We have had so many managers in the last 5 years. In a period of 2 to 3 seasons, we've got some stability now. Let's get an identity and kick on. Let's kick on. Back them on in January and kick on as a club. Let's do it. Like, what's going to stop us? I'm looking around the Premier League and I'm going, take away 4 or 5 teams. They're much of a muchness. We can take points off teams around, definitely around us, but further up the table, yeah. Look at Bournemouth. We should have beat them. Fulham. None of those 2 teams will be anywhere near relegation. We should have a point to Fulham. We should have beat Bournemouth. Let's take the positives. Anyway, I talked briefly about my brother, about how I became a Leeds fan and all that. And I could go to more, but I'm not going to. And I ended up in a bit of a rant there about where we are at the club at the minute. But that's where we are. It's emotional roller coaster, and most of my videos probably will be. But if you're here at this point, it's 24 minutes. My apologies. It was meant to be a 10-minute video, but if you've got to this point, I want to thank you very much. I just wanted to let you know a wee bit more about who I am, how long I've been supporting the club, how long I've been gone over. I've been over hundreds of times, countless times, at this point. But we'll touch on that down the line, maybe my favourite games, etc. But I want to thank you. And to every subscriber to this point, I want to thank you for subscribing. Look, like, comment, subscribe. I will interact and engage with anybody that comes on the channel. And yeah, marching on together.
Yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. But when everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am.